Today on Sports Central, we go over our next team projection of this offseason, and it's going to be the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, a team that went 3-7 overall in the 2020 season. Kind of a disappointment of a season, no doubt, for Georgia Tech, as this team only made it to 3 wins last year. But how will they be in 2021, and will there be much improvement for the Yellow Jackets in 2021 is what we're going over here today. We're going to go over a few players that this team will be losing, who they're returning, and also looking at their schedule for the first time this offseason, starting out with the previous 6 games for Georgia Tech. And this team down the stretch had a very interesting last 6 games. I mean, this team basically had 4 weeks off, 4 weeks canceled for that matter, between October 31st and November 28th. So there's a huge gap in between the last part of the season for this team. But they lost to Clemson 7-73. That was just a terrible game there for Georgia Tech. Clemson, of course, was on fire. But otherwise, they lost to Boston College then the next week, 27-48. Lost to Notre Dame 13-31. Then he had that massive break, and then he played Duke, which that was a good win there for Georgia Tech. This team put up 56 in that matchup, and I understand Duke is a terrible team, but still, I mean, putting up over 50 takes a lot of skill. So yeah, this team did win that game by quite a bit there. They lost to NC State though on the road 13-23. Lost to Pittsburgh as well to finish out the season 20-34. So kind of a disappointing season for this team, no doubt about that. I think we all can agree there. But for this team here, first 5 games they were 2-3. Last 5 games they were 1-4 in the 2020 season. Looking at the roster preview though for this team going into next year, you return your starting quarterback Jeff Sims. He is coming back for next season. And looking at him, he put up just over 1,800 yards, 13 touchdowns, 13 interceptions as well. His completion rate was just terrible though, 55%. That's got to be one of the lowest completion rates I've seen this offseason with any preview. So that is definitely something he's got to improve on if this team is going to be good, is his completion rate. Like, I mean, a good completion rate, I would say, is like 65 to 70%, if that gives you an idea. Like, an outstanding completion rate would be 70%. Jeff Sims is 16% off of that, so he's definitely got to improve on that going into next season. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's coming back for next season. He put up just over 760 yards of total offense last year, 7 touchdowns. That is going to be a big return there. Gibbs, I definitely think, has got some good potential going into next season. Jordan Mason, second running back, he's coming back. Jamius Griffin is also coming back. So this team is looking pretty good in the running back position, with Jordan Mason, of course, putting up just over 400 yards. And then Jamius Griffin, he's coming back once again with last season he put up just right around 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. So all 3 running backs put up a lot of yards last season, combined for nearly 1,500. So this team is looking very good in the running back position. As for the receiving position, though, with Jalen Camp, he is not going to be returning next season. He was your top wide receiver. He is the one skill player that you're losing going into next season. So that is good news, knowing that you're not losing a lot of your skill players, but Jalen Camp will certainly be a tough loss at first. He put up just over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns last season. Malachi Carter's coming back, so that's going to be a huge return as well. He put up just right around 300 yards. And then, of course, Sanders, your third wide receiver, is also coming back. Looking at him, he put up just over 220 yards. So this team is looking pretty good, I'd say, offensively. Like, there's not a lot of concern here on this offensive part for Georgia Tech. As for the defense, they lose 1 linebacker. That's about it, though. And then, of course, they lose 1 on the offensive line. So this team has got some great returning production going into next season, and that is something that I definitely look at for any team in any offseason, is in predicting how their season is going to go, is their returning production. And which, I mean, if you look at a team and they're returning a lot from a season to another, obviously that team is more than likely going to have a good season. So for Georgia Tech here, only losing a couple of players, I mean, Jalen Camp's probably your toughest loss. So really, this team has got some good potential, I'd say, going into next season. Especially, the thing is about this too is Jeff Sims, he's really got to improve going into next season. Like, I think he's a good player, but he needs to definitely step it up if he's going to lead this team to a bowl game next season. Because, I mean, Jeff Sims, once again, good quarterback, put up some decent stats, some decent yardage, but you're not going to go anywhere with having a quarterback that can't even throw 55%. So, yeah, Jeff Sims definitely has to improve on that. But chances of a bowl season in 2021, I'd say, are actually possible for this team. I would not be surprised to see this team hit 6 wins. They're going to be right on the barrier, though, of 5 to 7 wins. I think this team is going to be right on that threshold for 6 wins. It's just a matter of whether or not this team can win their close matchups. But looking at your schedule for next season, of course, you start off the season with Northern Illinois. Then you got Kennesaw State after that. Both those games are going to be easy wins. So you got 2 wins to start off your season. Then you've got a brutal game against Clemson. I'd probably forget about that matchup. That's not even going to be a win, or not even close for that matter. Clemson is going to be outstanding in that matchup. North Carolina, then, that's also going to be a tough game there. North Carolina, I'm expecting them to be pretty good next season with Sam Howell. That's going to be a tough team there. Then you got Pittsburgh after that to start off your October. You got Duke on the road, Virginia on the road, and you got a bye week in between those two games. You got Virginia Tech then on the 30th. You got Miami to start off your November on the road. Then you got Boston College, Notre Dame, and Georgia. So, I mean, for Georgia Tech being a team that has not done very well in football in the past few seasons, this team has actually got a brutal 2021 schedule. Like, if you look at the teams that they're playing here, I mean, you got Miami, who's going to be outstanding next season. You got them on the road. You got to play Notre Dame and Georgia in back-to-back weeks. You got to play Clemson. You got, I mean, North Carolina. You got 5 games that are going to be against teams probably in the top 15. So this is going to be a brutal schedule. I mean, I'm not totally for sure on this, but I think this might just be the toughest schedule in the ACC next season for any team. Like, Clemson's is pretty tough too, but Georgia Tech, like, this team has got to play Georgia and all these teams. It's going to be tough for this team next season. And it should be interesting to see how this team does. Like, the main reason I think this team has definitely got skill to be a bowl team next season. It's just their schedule's super tough for next year. That's going to be a tough thing for them to overcome and get to a bowl game. But for the first half of your season, Northern Illinois, Kennesaw State, both wins. Clemson will be a loss. North Carolina, Pittsburgh, Duke, I think are all winnable games. Like, North Carolina, probably not. But if you're looking at Pitt and Duke, both those games are definitely winnable for Georgia Tech. So I'm going to keep those as close games for now. But this team, I think, could have 4 wins in those first 6 games. If everything goes right, 3 to 4 wins is definitely possible for Georgia Tech in those first 6 games. As for the second half, though, with Virginia, that's going to be a close one. Virginia Tech's going to be close. Miami's going to be close. Boston College is also going to be close. The thing is that entire middle section of your schedule is all probably going to be close games. Like, for the most part, I mean, all those games should be pretty close ones. So it's just a matter of how many games you can win in those, because basically you've got 3 guaranteed losses. You got Clemson, Notre Dame, and Georgia. You're not going to win those games. You just got to focus on the yellow ones in the middle here. How many of those can you win? Like, what you basically have to do here is Northern Illinois and Kennesaw State are pretty much guaranteed wins. I'll just say that. So that means you got to win 4 of those 7 yellow games to make it to a bowl game, which, is that possible? I definitely think so, but will it happen is the question that we really got to think about here, especially with, I mean, Jeff Sims. It, once again, really depends on how he does, but I've got Georgia Tech going 6-6. I've got this team going to a bowl game barely. I do think they will get up to 6 wins. This team is going to be very close, though. Like, this is a team, once again, with skill to be a bowl team, but it's just a matter of whether or not they can win those close games. Projection is going to be 6-6. Your ceiling will be 8-4. Not a terrible ceiling for this team. That's basically the best of where you could be. 4-8 is going to be the floor, meaning the worst that you could be for next season. Anyway, that being said, that wraps up my projections for Georgia Tech for next season. Once again, your projection will be 6-6 for the Yellow Jackets. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments below, though, on this team, record predictions, and all of that. Let me know down in the comments. I appreciate you guys all watching, though. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you guys all later.